everybody, it's Allie. We're so excited to share and celebrate some of the amazing highlights of our first round for 2025 Wellness Kit campaign. We had 26 stores participate. 17 of those stores did over $20,000. 3 stores did over $30,000, and our top store did $43,000 in just 4 days. To share some of those amazing highlights, I turn it over to Jason.
You guys had a phenomenal pickup ratio, well over 60%, which was unbelievable, and sold a whole bunch of doorbusters and made a whole bunch of money, had a whole bunch of success. So what everybody's going to want to know is what do you think the one key piece was that made your weekend such a success?
I would say the calls, and as many calls as possible, because old-fashioned tactics work. Calling people, it shows that you care. We're in a text-driven society now, so that added a little, what we call in Louisiana, lagniappe, and a little bit something extra is what that means. But when you get a call, it just makes a world of difference in the world of retail, especially these days. So the calls, the list and the calls.
I believe the most important piece for the Wellness Kit campaign was the calls. Like making sure that we were making the calls properly. We had our strongest team members making those calls and signing up our customers to come in and pick up the Wellness Kit, and just being consistent and also paying attention every single moment of the process. So Courtney, can you kind of give us like an example of what I'm talking about?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we, wanted to follow the program to the T. So I think preparation was a big part of it, making sure that we had a master call list of every single customer or phone number that we had. And then while we were making those calls, making sure that we were getting enough calls in during the day. I think in the beginning we had set a goal of X amount of calls during the day, and at some point we switched to X amount of signups. Like, we need to keep calling until we have this amount of signups. And then also just keeping an eye on your team as you go. I think at some point too, we lost a little bit of steam. It's a few weeks of calling. We set incentives up for our team for how many signups that they were getting. That definitely reinvigorated the team. But you can't give up on the calls for sure. And I think that one very important piece as well was that we didn't depend only on the calls. The calls had to happen, but we made sure we were in the community. We really wanted to bring in new customers, new acquisition. And when we were calling from our list, we started from the bottom. So that way we could win back customers that maybe we haven't seen in a few years, let them know we have a lot of new products. So it has to be at the forefront of your mind. I think that was the most important piece, is that it is something we talked about multiple times a day. We met about multiple times a day, and it was always in the forefront of our mind. And I believe that that's what made it so successful. We ended up with over 770 signups for the kits. And honestly, I mean, we probably could have pushed even harder and got to 1,000. And I think that after seeing the success of the event, and I know that I've heard other store owners say this too, is that they wish that they had pushed even harder, that extra day, that extra hour, just because it was so successful and beautiful to see all the people in the store.
I do have to give kudos to you and Allie for a lot of the success and planning, but I would say following the program, every single meeting, every single week, be a part of, do the expectations. It will work, but I would say calling the call list, putting the right people in the right places, and making sure you have a team that can execute it is easily how we were able to be successful in that.
The phone calls, 100%. We contacted people we haven't seen in 5 or 6, 7 years, since the very beginning. And they were coming in and spending $300-$400. And like, we moved that location, and we had some problems with Google when we first moved, and, it took a minute to get it changed. So people couldn't find us. So this was huge. They were so excited when we called them. They were very nice, and everybody wanted to take advantage of, the Wellness Kit, and they wanted to get it. And so when they came in, they were ecstatic, and excitement was amazing. I mean, and excitement sells, and it did.
Like I told you when you came to the store, is we are like, here's the program, don't sway from it, because we don't know. It was our first go at it, right? So I think between that and then having a dedicated staff that's going to do it, it was like, hey, none of my staff had ever done any calling, any telemarketing, anything even like this before. It was like, are we committed? Well, let's set some big goals. And I think for them, that's what it was. They were dedicated. They were 100% in. And so they just literally just followed that script and just got started. I think when it comes to the most important was not to wait. We started like day one when the calls were supposed to start. And obviously we had a good list. And even at the end, we were running out of time to do all the things that we had to do. So I think you'd rather be ahead of the game than behind. So that's the one thing I think is probably the most important, was get on the scripts and get started day one and try to get ahead of it, so then you have more time at the end to kind of adjust what you need to.
Just being prepared with our whole team, just letting the staff know all along the way what was expected of them, and just making sure they were on top of those benchmarks, whether it was flyering or staying on top of calls. Inventory, making sure you have enough inventory, not just for the doorbusters, but they're coming in to make hundreds of dollars of purchases while they're there, right? That's the hope. And you got to make sure you have enough stock in stock. So that was huge for me.
Yeah, the front end, as the old saying goes, what starts right finishes right. So that front end of getting the calls done, the texts, reaching out, understanding the importance of that and how much time it's going to take. And I think, Jason, also knowing the strength of each staff. Like, we have some staff members that are really good on the phone, others that were really good with kind of helping manage the back end of just getting the jot forms, formulated properly and things. So
social media stuff, right?
Yeah,
like put people in a position where they're shining and they're going to excel and do well at, and that might mean they have different jobs.
Some of us were a little more willing and able to get out there to drop off those 10,000 flyers. Others were, better doing some other things in the back end. So I think that's all part and parcel of it.